Thank you for inviting me over here. I'm a hockey player, so it's hard for me to stand in one position. So if you don't mind, I'm going to be walking around a little bit. Actually, Dr. Joshi told you all a little bit about my background growing up in Bandra. I actually came from a very conservative middle-class family, and you know how it was back in the days in the 80s and 90s, right? Mom was a doctor, by the way, so I have immense respect for all doctors. She was at Bandra Baba Hospital. She was a pediatrician over there for almost 35 years. And, I used to see the crowds every single day lined up at Baba Hospital. And for me, doctors are gods. And so I'm tremendously honored to be here. Thank you, Dr. Gandhi, for inviting me. So mom was a doctor, dad was an engineer. And back in the 80s, 90s, if you had to be something in society, you had to become a doctor or an engineer. And I remember my parents being extremely strict with my eldest brother. My family was a sports-loving family, but no one really played any competitive sport. So parents were super strict with my eldest brother, and he eventually became an engineer. They were medium strict with my second brother. He was a very good football player, played at a very high level. Eventually, he also became an engineer. And I was the third and lucky one, because by the time I came along, my parents were not bothered at all. And that's how I could actually play hockey. I remember in 1996, the Atlanta Olympics, an Indian tennis player won a medal for India. Can anyone remember? Everyone? Leander. And I was a young teenager watching back at home on TV. And for me, actually, that was my moment of inspiration, because like Leander, I wanted to play for India. Obviously, hockey was my sport, so I wanted to play hockey for India. I wanted to captain the Indian hockey team. I wanted to play at the Olympics. I wanted to win an Olympic medal. I was very lucky that my first 3 dreams got fulfilled. But the final one of actually winning an Olympic medal myself as a player, that remained unfulfilled. I played at Athens 2004, and I want to narrate a story from Athens 2004. So India was playing Australia in a very crucial league match. And as you know, like in cricket, Australia is a very strong team in hockey as well. India had to beat Australia to come to the semi-finals of Athens. For Australia, a draw was enough to go through. We were leading 1-0 in the first half. Australia equalized. They made it 1-1. That time, by the way, hockey was 2 halves of 35 minutes. Now the game has changed. It's become 4 quarters of 15 minutes each. In the second half, Dhanraj Pillai, you'll all know Dhanraj. Dhanraj got a yellow card. And India were down to 10 men for 10 minutes. Now, it's hard playing against Australia 11 versus 11. It's bordering on the impossible to keep up with them 10 versus 11 for 10 minutes. In that 10-minute period, Australia scored 2 goals. They were leading us 3-1. Dhanraj came back on the pitch. India made it 3-2. With 7 minutes left on the clock, India made it 3-all. But it was not enough. We had to find the winning goal. We were throwing the kitchen sink at Australia. With 4 minutes left on the clock, India hit the Australian post. The ball hit the post and came back into play. In the last 10 minutes, India had 5 penalty corners. But their goalkeeper had a great night. He saved everything we threw at them. With 52 seconds left on the clock, India had a free hit on top of the Australian D area. Except our goalkeeper, all 10 of us went on top to try and score. And then what happened in that last minute happened in a blur. Because in our urgency to try and score, one of us made a mistake. The Australians intercepted the ball in their D area. They counter-attacked us. And with 20 seconds left on the clock, Australia scored the winning goal that night. Australia won that match 4-3. That match finished, I remember, around 10 p.m. Athens time. I was crying on the sidelines till around 12 midnight. Because for me, it was around 7 years of effort that had gone into preparing for the Olympics. I was possibly in the best shape of my life, had worked as hard as I possibly could. And then that moment came and passed very quickly. I remember being very angry and frustrated, not because India lost, not because one of us made a mistake. I was just angry and frustrated at the system which I felt did not gear us well enough to handle the pressure against the best teams in the world when it really mattered. And at that highest level of sport, it's actually it boils down to the 1%ers. Because the difference between the best teams in the world and those who just participate are at that final mile when you have nothing left in the tank, when your heartbeat is literally at 200 beats a minute. You have nothing left, you have no strength. And then to summon somehow the energy, to somehow summon the concentration, to not make errors, because against the best teams in the world, you'll get maybe 1 or 2 chances in the game. If you don't miss it, if you miss it, you'll get punished with a goal behind you. That Australian men's hockey team went on to win the gold medal at Athens 2004 for the first time ever in their history. And India and me only participated. And that's why I say the difference between winning gold and maybe just participating can actually boil down to maybe 20 seconds on the clock or the width of a goal post. I retired, I played for a few years later, retired at a very early age. I went to do my MBA. And then I happened to meet two legends of Indian sport. I'm sure you'll all know them, Geet Sethi and Prakash Padukone. Geet Sethi, as you know, is a 9-time world billiards champion. Prakash Padukone, I have to tell many youngsters that he's not just Deepika's father. He's played a little bit of badminton in his life, and they had started this not-for-profit organization called Olympic Gold Quest with a very sharp mission to help Indian athletes win Olympic gold medals. And they were looking for a CEO. Now, this was back in 2009. Now, Geet and Prakash were gods for me as well. I could not say no to them, and I just felt that OGQ gave me the platform to help the next generation of athletes do something that I couldn't do myself, which is help Indian athletes win Olympic gold medals. I'm going to tell you a few stories about OGQ and the journey of those champions. I'm going to tell you 2 stories about, you'll all know athletes like PV Sindhu, Mirabai Chanu, etc., who have won medals for India. Sindhu has won 2. But maybe what you all don't know so much is actually the blood, sweat, and tears that went in the lead up to in that journey to the Olympic podium. So I'm going to share a couple of stories with that. But before that, I'm going to request my friend Anand to kindly play a small video, just to give you context. OGQ looks after the training and preparation of some of India's best athletes preparing for the Olympics and Paralympics. The Commonwealth Games is an important stepping stone. We're very proud to say that at the recent Tokyo Olympics last year, India won 7 medals. The training of 4 of the 7 medal winners was looked after by OGQ. And thank you. At the Tokyo Paralympics, India won 19 medals. To give you context, the highest number before that was just 4. And the training of 10 of those 19 medal winners was looked after by OGQ. The video I'm about to show you is from the recent Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. It's an important stepping stone in the lead up to the Olympics. Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, World Cups, World Championships, these are all important stepping stones. 23 athletes supported by us participated at the Birmingham Commonwealth Games. 17 won medals, including 12 gold medals. You will see all the medal winners over here. If I can request Anand to kindly play the video, please.
Yeah, you can be the greatest, you can be the best, you can be the King Kong banging on your chest.
You can beat the world, you can beat the war, you can talk to God, go banging on his door.
You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock, you can move a mountain, you can break rocks.
You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you gon' find yourself
Standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's gonna know your name. Cause you burn with the brightest flame. straight through hell with a smile.
You could be the hero, you could get the gold. Breaking all the records they thought never could be broke.
Yeah, do it for your people, do it for your pride. Are you ever gonna know if you never even try?
Do it for your country, do it for your name. Cause there's gonna be a day when you're
Standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's gonna know your name. Cause you burn with the brass flame, and the world's gonna know your name. And you'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame. Be a champion, be a champion, be a champion, be a champion. The walls of the Hall of Fame. Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be preachers. Yeah. Be believers, be leaders, be astronauts, be champions, be truth seekers. Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be preachers. Yeah. Be believers, be leaders, be astronauts, be champions. Standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's gonna know your name. Cause you burn with the brass flame.
I know you all are doctors, but you are allowed to clap louder also, okay? Okay. It takes just 6 grams of gold to lift the worth of a nation. 6 grams of gold, that's the weight of pure gold in an Olympic gold medal. And the journey to that podium and to that gold is actually hell. And in sport, what generally happens is we see the final effort, but actually, I want to talk to you a little bit about what goes behind the scenes over here. At the Tokyo Olympics, I thought I'd do a comparison with some of the big nations in the medal table. India has 1.3 billion population. I looked at China, I looked at the US, Great Britain, Germany, Australia, etc. But in terms of medals, they're far out of reach. So I thought I'd do a comparison with a nation that's closer to us in terms of medals. I looked at Hungary. I googled Hungary's population 10 million, which is basically the population of Dadar railway station on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Okay, and India won 7 medals at Tokyo. Can anyone guess how many medals did Hungary win at Tokyo? Hungary, small dot on the map. We'll take 1 minute to find where Hungary is on the map. Hungary won 20 medals overall, including 6 gold medals. And when we actually analyze what is Hungary doesn't have more facilities than us. They don't have smarter doctors than us. They don't have more money than us. And yet Hungary is winning 20 medals at the Olympics, the ultimate stage of world sport where you're competing against the best in the world. And one of the things that nations like Hungary do really well is focus intensely on a few sports that they're really good at and go deep. And that's one of the lessons we learn to win Olympic medals. You have to just focus, focus, focus. Like I said, growing up, I remember I had so many injuries during my hockey is a contact sport. I had 4 fractures just on the fingers of my right hand during my playing career. Every time I had a fracture, I was out for approximately 3 months. So I lost 1 year just because of 4 fractures on my right hand, leaving aside the other injuries I had throughout my career. So, and I remember at that time, early 90s, late 2000s, we didn't have the best doctors. We didn't have the best support team, physios, trainers, nutritionists, mental trainers. I would be running from pillar to post. I don't know whether Dr. Narvekar is here. I used to see Dr. Narvekar for my knee at that time. And now things are much, much improved. And the easiest thing we can do is complain and grumble and say that India's shit, facilities are bad, coaches are useless. But I think what I loved about Geet and Prakash is they never complain. They wanted to do something to actually make a difference. I'm going to tell you about Sindhu's story. For me, one of easily the greatest athletes India has ever produced, male or female, at the Olympics. Everyone knows Sindhu today as one of India's best, but actually we started supporting her when she was 13 years old, a little girl in school. And I remember at that time, we were researching on this young girl who was beating kids 3 years elder to her. That almost never happens in a physical sport. We started supporting her immediately. I remember on day one, I went to Hyderabad, Gachibowli. I met Gopi and her parents. And I asked them if there's one thing that OGQ could do for Sindhu, what would it be? And they unanimously said international exposure for training and competition, because Sindhu was not in the Indian team. Her parents did not have the funds to send her abroad for training, so she was not getting any international exposure. OGQ was a new not-for-profit organization, 2009. We didn't have any money, but what we had was a lot of belief in Sindhu's ability. We somehow put together the funds to send her for 5 international tournaments abroad with a coach and a physio. That was the time she won her first senior international tournament, a Chotusar tournament, Maldives International Challenge, but very big in terms of the confidence it gave a young girl. At the age of 17, Sindhu started playing Super Series tournaments, the highest level of women's international badminton tournaments. That first year, Sindhu played 12 tournaments. 10 tournaments she lost in the first round. And you can imagine the hit it took to the confidence of a young 17-year-old girl. And in India, you know how it is, right? At the age of 15 and 17, you make decisions in life. Should I study or should I play? Sindhu's elder sister, by the way, is a doctor. And when you're losing not once, not twice, not thrice, 10 times, there seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel. Sindhu almost quit badminton that year. I've seen her throw her racket on the floor in Gachibowli and said, I do not want to play badminton any longer. I'm not good enough. And I recognized it from my own experience that was the most crucial time in the life of an elite athlete, that transition period, which is the hardest, where you want to give up 1,000,000 times to be able to hang in there and believe in the process. We gave her a very good psychologist. I think we ensured that there was a very strong team supporting Sindhu. And luckily, the tide turned and she started getting better. Not many people know that exactly 9 months to the day of the Rio Olympics, one day Sindhu got a stress fracture on her foot. We showed her to all the best orthopedic surgeons, took all the scans. Everyone said very clearly that she's out for around 4 months. That was the injury protocol. Within 12 hours from the injury happening, Gopi, Sindhu, her parents, our team of our physio, trainer, nutrition, mental trainer, we sat together. We prepared a day-to-day plan of Sindhu's rehabilitation, her recovery, her strengthening, return to jogging, return to training on court, and finally return back to competition. In exactly 3 months, 10 days from the date of the injury, Sindhu played her first competitive match again. And I think that was world-class recovery and a world-class rehab program just because of teamwork and the dedication and commitment of an elite athlete who made it happen. And when Sindhu eventually went to Rio, she was in the best shape of her life. Not just physically, but I would say mentally. She beat 3 opponents who had better head-to-head records than her. All three were higher ranked than her. And I was there at Rio and I asked Sindhu, what happened? How come you played so well? And she told me something that meant a lot to me. She said, Viren, she was 21 when she won the Olympic silver medal at Rio. Did anyone watch that match? Did anyone watch Sindhu's match? At the Rio, a lot of hands going up. And we all felt proud, right? Seeing an Indian girl going there. And what Sindhu told me made me feel really proud because she said, Viren, in the last 7 to 8 years that OGQ has been supporting me, the support has been so world-class that every time I stepped on court in Rio, I just believed that I could beat anybody. And for me, that meant so much from a young Indian girl saying that, because I think that in 2004, when the Indian men's hockey team stepped onto the pitch in Athens against Australia, and we stood toe-to-toe and face-to-face with them, I don't think deep down at that point of time, we believed that we could beat Australia. And I think belief does not come from you or me telling athletes, have confidence, have belief. It actually comes from solid world-class support from all of you all, from everyone working in the team with athletes. If we are able to consistently give our athletes the best possible support, I don't see any way that we can't win at the highest level. So for me, Sindhu is just an incredible athlete. She went on to obviously win a second Olympic medal at Tokyo also, which was even tougher than the first, just given the circumstances that she could go through. That was me with Sindhu at the Rio Olympics. Mirabai Chanu, she came from a background so poor, growing up from a small village far away in Imphal in Manipur. Meera did not even have 2 square meals a day to eat. She used to lift firewood to earn 10 rupees for her family. Hardy, tough girl from the mountains, she became a weightlifter. Now her journey at the Olympics actually started with failure. Because at the Rio Olympics, Mirabai Chanu failed in all her 3 lifts. Meera is she's a 49 kg weightlifter. So her weight has to be less than 49 kgs. In her weight category at the Olympics, you have to clean and jerk about 115 kilos. So you lift the bar up to here, this is called clean, and then you jerk it up. Okay, 115 kilos, that's about 2.5 times her body weight. Again, to give you context, I am 80 plus kilos. I cannot lift that bar 2 centimeters off the ground. Because if I go to lift more than that, I'm going to get a back injury for the rest of my life. So it's that, and this is a 49 kg lady doing that. The OGQ team was tracking Meera in the lead up to Rio. And she was not expected to win a medal at Rio, but she was expected to challenge and go very close. So we were very surprised when she didn't make a single clean lift at Rio. And we were curious to find out the reason. So in December 2016, I made the journey to Patiala, which was Meera's training base, to find out what happened. I had dinner with Mirabai Chanu and her coach, Vijay Sharma. That dinner turned into a 4-hour meeting. And in that 4-hour meeting, Meera was actually sobbing on the table for more than 2 hours. As she was narrating what happened at Rio, she said that mentally, the pressure on her was so much that she just blanked out. And she forgot the process of living. And weightlifting is a process. If you forget one element of the process, you will not make a successful lift. She equated it to someone preparing for a very public speech for 5 years, and then when you go on stage in front of 1 million people, you forget all your lines. From that talk with Meera, from that meeting with Meera, it became very clear that there were 3-4 major deficiencies in her training. Her coach was very young and talented. He understood modern training methods. But what she didn't have was the medical support and the absolutely world-class team working behind the scenes with her. We had to put in place a very good psychologist first and foremost, because we had to help her overcome that fear of failure that kept plaguing her every time she went onto the platform to lift in competition after Rio. Second, we had to get a very good nutritionist, because we had to keep her weight below 49 kgs, yet have the explosive strength to lift 115 kilos. We had to get a very good strength and conditioning expert to work with the coach on technique, because when you're lifting weights that normal people cannot even think of, any mistake in technique and the probability of injury multiplies a lot. And last, we had to get a very good physiotherapist with her, because I'm a hockey player, I've seen a lot of injuries. We look after boxers, wrestlers, but I've never seen the kind of injuries that weightlifters get. In the last 3 months in the lead up to the Tokyo Olympics, Meera on separate occasions had 4 injuries. She had a back injury, she had a neck injury, she had a shoulder injury, and she had a thigh injury. And each time we thought, oh God, that's it, 5 years of effort again gone down the drain. But that lady is made of something else. Every time she kept fighting, pushing the pain barrier. And finally, 24th July 2021, first day of competition of the Tokyo Olympics, Mirabai Chanu finally lifted 115 kilos and won the Olympic silver medal. And all of us cried buckets of tears. I cried because I know how hard the journey was for me, for her. And after the Olympics, Meera told me that she did not sleep properly for a month in the lead up to Tokyo as well. Just the burden of expectation on her was so much. And for me, she is definitely one of the most incredible athletes. I just want to add another nugget. Exactly 3 months after the Tokyo Olympics, they had the weightlifting national championship. The number of girls that participated has tripled from the last national championship, just because of a hero like Mirabai Chanu. In the Northeast, every academy is filled with young girls who now believe that they will be the next Mirabai Chanu. You can see how tiny Mirabai Chanu is, and this girl is just an incredible young talent. I just want to end by saying I think the greatest pleasure in life is to do something that people say you cannot do. I think especially in sport, I've always heard right from the time I was growing up, people say, don't play, you'll never get anything, India's useless, we're too bad. Now in OGQ, people say, you all will never win Olympic medals, we are too far behind the rest of the world. I just want to say a personal story. You know, when I was 12 years old, I was a really tiny kid, very puny, very short, very thin. This is 12-year-old me, and you can see the other 12-year-old, who I was much smaller and tinier compared to. And I used to go to the AstroTurf Hockey Stadium in Churchgate for training, for these summer coaching camps, and I thought I was a very talented hockey player, until one day one very senior coach caught me by the scruff of the neck, and he said, you know, Viren, you're very skillful, you're very talented, blah, 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 but you'll never, ever play big hockey in your life. And I was very upset that this very senior coach is saying that I'll never play big hockey in my life. And I asked him, sir, why do you say that? So he just said, you know, you're just not strong enough, you're not fit enough, you have zero endurance. I had a asthmatic issue, my breathing, my lung power was really bad. I went home very upset. From the next day onwards, every single day I came onto the hockey pitch, I started working on my skills. I either learned a new skill every day or I improved on my existing skills. I started going to the gym, I started getting fitter, faster, stronger. And exactly 12 years later, at the age of 24, I captained the Indian hockey team for the first time ever. And I was very glad that that coach one day told me that you will never ever play big hockey in my life. Because maybe that day, if he had to not tell me that, maybe I wouldn't have worked as hard as I was supposed to work to get where I was supposed to be. And so I just want to say that I think, you know, when Geet, Prakash, Vishwanathan, Anand is also on our board, myself, and we started OGQ, we thought that the potential and possibilities of this are good. First we thought we just make it a fine program where former athletes help the next generation of athletes do something. But actually what we really want to do is make it a movement that can capture the imagination of the entire nation, right? All of you all felt proud when you all saw the video. And that's what we want to make millions of Indians feel really proud. And I want to say a special thank you to Dr. Joshi, Dr. Dincho Pardiwala, Dr. Abhay Nene, Dr. Narvekar, Dr. Sanjay Desai, Dr. Sudhir Warrior, many doctors who have helped many of our athletes and many others. I'm sorry if I have not taken your names, Dr. Aditya Daftari. So many of you all at next to no time always see our top athletes. And without that support, these are the 1%ers that will get us back. Because in the life of an elite athlete, the window is very short and that window closes very soon. In the previous session, Dr. Agarwala was saying about recovery time, and it's so important that's magnified in the life of an Olympic athlete, because we have to get them back into action at the quickest time possible. Every time I was out with my finger fractures, I lost my place in the Indian team. I lost my confidence. My fitness level dropped to 0. and I had to fight my way back into the team from scratch. So getting elite athletes back into action is quickest, and very often it's not just the physical aspect of the injury, it's the psychological aspect which is the hardest for them to deal with. So what we want to do is make OGQ a movement that can capture the imagination of the entire nation. I think as with anything in life, the choice is always ours, because when we walk out of those doors today, I think many people in life will tell us that you can't do this and you can't do that. If there's just one message I like to give, especially young kids, is that if we put our minds and our hearts and our soul and put the best team in the world possible, I think we can do whatever we want in life. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.